This is HitTheRopes.com's Raw Report. We'll give you the recaps and the notes from live in Chicago, where Bob Barker was the guest host, and he definitely brought The Price is Raw to the WWE, and it was a very good way to kick things off. They had little contestants come on, and Santino, Jillian Hall, IRS made his surprise return, and then a reluctant, if you could see in the top corner, Chris Jericho makes his way out. Not happy about it at all, but that led to some good play with Bob Barker, referring to him as being a baby and whatnot. It was a very solid opener, and the contestants were bidding on the actual retail price of the new SmackDown Best of 100 Years and 5,000 episodes, or whatever it may be, DVD that's about to come out. So, as much as they're plugging Bob Barker's spade and neuter this and that and his new book, they're also plugging their new merchandise at the same time. But it's kind of funny. As you can see, it was pretty funny with the outlandish Santino. He's been involved with all the guest hosts so far, but Chris Jericho, eventually wins the bid after bidding $1, not meaning to, and he goes on to face MVP, and the winner of that showdown would get a trip to Hawaii. It was a very good back and forth matchup, which saw MVP in a similar situation to where he was last week, where he was about to get the code breaker put on him in the corner, but he reverses it this time, gets the win. Very solid match, which leads us to another segment with Bob Barker and Kelly Kelly. I think Kelly Kelly might have been struggling to remember her lines, or she was just plain bad. Whichever one you want to put, they were trying to put over the book, the spade, the neuter, blah, blah, blah. And of course, who else comes up? DX. Who else promotes better? They came up and they did their little spinning for the main event opponents, which happened to be Chris Masters, which led to more DX hazing, or Triple H hazing, more like it. He always gets his shots in. When he first returned the first time, they commented on losing all that weight after this, getting suspended for the violation of the substance abuse or whatever wellness policy. This time it was hair plugs, and his tag team partner was Randy Orton, and that we've seen that before 1,000 times. As long as it wasn't Triple H versus Randy Orton, they're trying to mix it up a bit by throwing in Chris Masters. But anywho, that leads us to the next game show: Chavo Guerrero versus Evan Bourne. What were we gonna see next from Chavo? All the guest hosts have bombed Chavo. Last week was a cow suit. This week, not so much. Bob Barker just put him in a match versus Evan Bourne for a brand new car. But unfortunately for Chavo, Hornswoggle makes his way in, sprays him very weakly mad with a water gun, and he falls off, gets pinned, and he doesn't get his chance. Later we see him crying and complaining to Bob Barker, that demanding a chance at his car. He's not leaving without his car. He left without his car. Next we saw Cody Rhodes take on John Cena. This was a revenge match. If you remember last week, John Cena was set up. He was the guest referee in this world title match, only to see American Dream say I'm sorry, and they turn on him, and Legacy all beat the snot out of them. Then DX comes for the save, but gets beat up too. So this was his match, the equalizer match, which led to them plugging the Breaking Point pay-per-view about 1 million times with every submission hold. And as Rhodes was about to submit, In comes Orton, flies in, gets the DQ, only to fly back out as soon as he came. And Cody Rhodes was not that lucky, as he caught the attitude adjustment, and Cena sends a message to Orton through Rhodes. Then we get a plug from, I don't know, Batista. I fell asleep. When I finally woke up, it was over. But unfortunately, it wasn't just a nightmare. He will be returning next week, and apparently has a career-threatening, career-breaking career, some kind of message about his career, or lack thereof. The next Pricing Games showed, it was a little interesting, because instead of calling a fan or a wrestler, they called in AJ Pierzynski from the Chicago White Sox that are in Chicago. I don't know what the backstory is on that, besides the fact that maybe he's been plugged in TNA for multiple occasions, but he was booed out of the building, even gave the fans the bird. So I'm not sure what the backstory was in that, but they just threw him in there. They should have thrown Jermaine Dye in there. He's much more for that show in Chicago was that Trish Stratus will be hosting the next show, as they're in the Air Canada Center, or wherever it is in Toronto, or wherever it is in Canada that they may be going. We'll see them. Show in Chicago was that Trish Stratus will be hosting the next show, as they're in the Air Canada Center, or wherever it is in Toronto, or wherever it is in Canada that they may be going. We'll see them. See her in. You notice that she skipped WrestleMania because it wasn't noteworthy. It was not going to be a good blah blah blah. DX is in the main event matchup with their whipping boy Chris Masters, and it was neither here nor there. The whole point of it was the end. Legacy comes in. DX chases them out the building. You see them running through corridors, throwing chairs. They steal somebody's car, and they're off. But for some reason, Orton decides not to, go away. He's going to be there, makes a claim how he's going to submit or make John Cena quit at the end of the mat, and at next Sunday's Breaking Point pay-per-view. Cena, Mr. Serious, rushes to the ring, only to get thrown in and out and all over, and then a RKO on a chair, which was like in slow motion or something. Because I went to get some water and came back, and he was still in the middle of the move. It's kind of crazy if you ask me, but that happened and left him towering over his crippled and destroyed body. So all in all, it was a pretty entertaining show. Bob Barker did his thing. He was very much like Happy Gilmore all over Raw. We thought it was going to be good, and it was. Not excited about Breaking Point pay-per-view on Sunday, despite the good card. The matches don't really care about. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll surprise us. They're coming off of SummerSlam, which was really big, really good show. But I must have missed it. Maybe I was sleeping, but I didn't hear any references to Cody Rhodes' father, Dusty Rhodes, getting RKO'd. They seem to be on the same page this week. Not sure if they mentioned it in brief passing or extensive. Either way, I didn't hear about it, so kind of confused on that. Maybe they said something. Feel free to comment or email us at hittheropesradio@gmail.com. And for more information, more news, more articles, more interviews, it's always hittheropes.com. Join the online wrestling revolution.